Okay, let's go. All right. I'm not going to that Levaya. I hope you don't mind, but I'm skipping that one. Yeah.
Okay, Mikvaos Vavches.
Tesvav.
Uh,
When,
no,
right?
no.
Yes.
Wait. Oh, I beg your pardon. You're right.
Right. Okay.
You are right. What am I saying? I was in the wrong place. Okay.
That's unusual. Okay. When found on garments, if only on one side, it does not intervene. But if on both sides, it does intervene. Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Rabbi Shishmael, even on one side, it does not intervene. And Rabbi Yoshi says on garments of Torah scholars, it intervenes even on one side, but on those of the bore, it only intervenes on both sides. Zion. When the apron of pitch workers, of potters, or tree pruners, it does not intervene. Rabbi Yehuda says the same applies to the apron of fruit dryers. This is the general rule. Anything which one finds disturbing intervenes, and anything which one does not find disturbing does not intervene. Aleph. All handles of utensils that were inserted improperly, or they were inserted properly but were not finished, or they were finished but not but became broken, they intervene. A vessel was immersed with its mouth downwards, as if though it was not immersed. It was immersed the normal way, but without its appendage, if it does not become tahor unless it is turned on its side. A vessel which is narrow at both ends and wide in its middle cannot become tahor unless it is turned on its side. And a bottle whose rim is turned downwards cannot become tahor unless it is pierced on its side. A layman's inkwell cannot become tahor unless it is pierced on its side. And Yosef HaKohen's inkwell was pierced on its side.
Okay.
Your turn.
Right. More things about immersing kalim that have trapped air. A karva kesis, things like a pillowcase or a kesis,
There's a mattress or cushion of leather.
right, a mattress or a cushion of leather. So basically, it's made out of leather. And because it's made out of leather, the leather does not let air through. So if it was made out of cloth, the water can seep through, so you can put it however you want it. But the leather traps the air. So the water needs to get inside. Keses agula. Now, what if you've got a round cushion that is typically sewn up, like kadur, or a ball that's got stuffing inside it? Amum is a form, I think, for making shoes on top of it. Kamea is an amulet, and a tefillah is tefillin. These are things that are typically sewn closed and never opened.
Did you say tefillin?
Yes,
This is
tefillah.
an amulet. Oh, all right. This is an amulet or a tefillah.
Yes, tefillah. Tefillah is the singular of tefillin.
Okay. Oh.
But tefillah shel. So the proper term is tefillah shel yad and tefillah shel rosh.
I never heard that. I always said tefillin harosh and tefillin that.
Right. So because that's the way people talk.
Right.
But if you wanted to speak, with proper, using the proper grammar all the time, then you should talk about your tefillah shel yad and your tefillah shel rosh.
Okay. Thank you.
But nobody talks like that. Okay. If they become tameh, they also need to go to mikveh. And you think, I'm going to put my tefillin into water? Come on. Okay, but if it's tameh and you don't want it and you want it to be tahor, it's got to go into the mikveh.
You have to take.
You don't have to open it.
Open it up and take out the.
No. So that's so the next thing that we say is you don't have to open it up. Right? Because it's always used closed. There's no need for you to open it, and you can toggle it exactly as it is. In, out, done.
I'd be too nervous to do that.
Yeah, I know. Zehaklal, your general rule calls anything where it is generally used closed, and you don't open it up as part of its use, then you toggle it while it's closed. Okay. Here are some other things that do not need to have water going through the whole kli. Kishrei ha'ani, or the knots of a poor man. So if his clothes are knotted together by way of tying them, his typical mode of wearing his clothes is not to untie them, tie them. He just pulls them on over his head. Okay, so since the knots do not come undone, they can be toiled as is. Hanimin, and the threads are there's the kishrei hanimin. right? So, for example, like on a talus, you've got
Right.
those threads on the end. Nobody ever unties those. So if your talus needs to be toibled, you don't have to go untying the knots to make sure that the water penetrates inside there. That's just how it's used, and it stays knotted. The chavat shel sandal, the back strap of a shoe. So I think the way it works is that when you initially get the shoe made, there are two straps, and with the back strap or the front strap. I'm just thinking of the way I use my water shoes. Mitchell sandal. So there's a strap that comes out of the shoe that tightens it on the foot. Um,
This is the thong is knotted in the sandal.
Yeah, that's right. They're thong knots. So I think what happens is that it's if you originally when you get the shoe, you tie it to the right size to match your foot. So like
Mhm.
if you imagine water shoes, the front strap that goes across the front of your foot, you don't ever open or close that one. That's just where your foot slides in. So I think that one, if you imagine that the Velcro replaced by a knot, so that
Mhm.
knot stays in place because it's there permanently. It's sized to your foot, and just the part where you're at near your ankle would be opened and closed. So that part would not need to be untied to go into the mikveh. Tefillah shel rosh bizman shehi chotza. Um, the knot of your head tefillin. When it is chotza, in other words, when it is tight, when the kesher is nice, is well tightened, and that's going to last. That's most people's tefillin nowadays, is that knot at the back um doesn't need to be undone. Okay. B'shel zroa bisman she'ena ola v'yoredes. And the knot on your arm tefillin, when it doesn't move up and down on the strap. So if this um I'm not getting the picture yet of how you could have a knot on the arm tefillin that does open and close like that. Um,
It says that the knot, type of knot of the arm tefillin that the Mishnah refers to here is not the prevalent nowadays, where
mhm.
its strap slips through a loop, but where the strap is fixed permanently, not allowing it any other free movement.
Oh, okay. Okay, so they had a different type of knot that they're talking about over there. All right. Shel zroa bizman she'ena olav yoredes, ve'oznei hachemetz, the handles of a water skin, and ve'oznei hatarmil, and the jacket, the straps of the jacket that the shepherds would wear. So that also, these are things that stay tied in place, and there's no need to untie them to put them in the mikveh. So here is a list of counterexamples of things that do need to be loosened so that the water can get into the knot. The So this is a sort of an undergarment that you wear over your shoulder that gets tied over your shoulder, and it's regularly tied and untied. So therefore, it needs to be untied to put in the mikveh. V'safa shel sadin, the edge of a sheet. Tzarich lemater, you have to stretch it out. So if it was crumpled and tied into for whatever reason, then it needs to be stretched out so that the water is able to penetrate it. Tefillah shel rosh bisman she'ena chutza, and the head tefillin when your knot is not tight and you are regularly adjusting it, so then it needs to be opened in kvar. Shel zroa bisman shehi olav yoredes, and the counterexample of your knot, which does go up and down, which we don't know what it is, but because we don't do them nowadays. Shnatzin shel sandal, and the back straps of the sandal, where you put it in and tie it up every time you put on your shoes. Okay, so that has to be left open. You can't leave that closed to put it in the mikveh. Begadim shehit bilan mechubasin, and clothing that was toveled washed. So if you had just done laundry on these clothes and they become tame, and they're now dried. So you have to see bubbles, all the bubbles coming out
Right.
to make sure that the water has penetrated and there's not air trapped inside them. Hitbilan neguvim. Oh, sorry. Achi babu. Okay, sorry. If they were wet, then you have to wait until you see that the bubbles appearing, and that means that the water that's in the clothing is now attached to the water in the mikveh, so that now it's automatically toveled, even if some of it is sticking out the water. And but if they're dry, then you have to wait until the bubbles stop, so that there's no more air trapped inside.
Okay.
Okay, and that's it.
Okay. Vav Ches. One can cause Mikvaos to become tahor, an upper one from a lower one, and a distant one from a close one. How so? He should bring a pipe of earthenware of lead, or he should place his hand beneath it until it fills with water, and he should cause it to flow, and then be connected, even as a hairbreadth is sufficient. If the upper one contained 40 saw and the lower one was empty, one can draw water, carry it on his shoulder, and place it into the upper one until 40 saw goes down into the lower one. If a wall between two mikvahs was split perpendicularly, they combine horizontally. They do not combine unless they're the size of a water skin tube at one place. Rabbi Yehuda says just the opposite. If they are open to one another, they combine when the height of a garlic peel and the width of a water skin tube. Regarding a fixture on the drain of a bathhouse, when it is in the middle, it disqualifies the mikvah. But when it is on the side, it does not disqualify the mikvah because it is like a mikvah net to another mikvah. These are the words of Rebbeah. But if we come and say if the bath continues, the bath containing one reviews of rainwater before it reaches the fixture of the drain, it is valid. If not, it is invalid. Elazar Zadok says if the fixture on the drain holds any water, the mikvah is invalid. Okay. And we have,
Hey.
okay, hey. Regarding two paths, one tummy, one tahor, if someone walked on one of them and prepared taharos, and his friend came and walked on the second path and prepared taharos, Rabbi Yehuda says, if each of them inquired separately, both are root tahor, but if both people inquired together, they are both root tummy. What Rabbi Yoshi says, either way, they are both root tummy. Regarding two loaves, one tummy, one tahor, if someone ate one of them and prepared taharos, and his friend came and ate the second one and prepared taharos, Rabbi Yehuda says each of them inquired separately, both are root tahor. But if both inquired together, they are root tummy, and Rabbi Yossi says either way, both are root tummy. Regarding someone who was sitting in the public domain and one came and tread on his clothes or spit and he touched his saliva, with regard to his saliva, we burn truma, but with regard to his clothes, we follow the majority. If he was sleeping in the public domain and then awoke, his clothes are tummy as a midras. These are the words of Rebbeah, but we come and rule them tahor. If someone touched a person at night and is not whether the person was alive or dead, in the morning he arose and found him dead, Rebbeah rules that he is tahor, but the sages rule that he is tummy because all of the uncertainties of tumah are decided according to the status at the time of their discovery. Okay. And here. And we are on to Olios. Okay, test design solid. If one who searches a cubic square and leaves the cubit until he reaches bedrock is virgin oil. That's wrong, I'm sorry. The one who searches a cubic square and then leaves a cubit until he reaches bedrock or virgin soil. The person who removes the earth from the place of truma may eat his truma. Someone who cleans away a plow may not eat his truma. Someone who is searching and reached a river, an irrigation canal, or a public highway stops his search. In a field which people were killed and all the bones are collected, the field is then considered tahor. If someone is removing a grave from his field, he gathers up every bone and the whole field is considered tahor. Regarding a pit into which stillborn fetuses or slain people were thrown, the bones are gathered and the whole pit is considered tahor. Reb Shimon says if the pit was initially intended to be grave, the surrounding earth must be removed. One who plows a grave thereby creates a base of pras. How far does the plowing make a base of pras? A furrow's breadth, which is 100 cubits, an area of 4 saw. Rabbi Yehuda says an area of 5 saw. This applies to a downward slope, and on an upward slope, the following procedure determines the size of a base of pras. A quarter cob of vetch seeds are placed on the knee-shaped part of the plow, and up to the part where 3 vetches will sprout alongside one another is deemed a base of pras. Rabbi Yossi says the law of Habes Pras applies only to the downward slope, not to the upward. Okay. We have Chulin. Okay, test base. If the skins of the following are like their flesh, the skin of a man, the skin of a domestic pig, Rabbi Yossi says also the skin of a wild pig, the skin of a hump of a tender camel, the skin of a head of a young calf, the skin of a hoof, the skin of a pedula, the skin of a fetus, the skin under the fat tail, and the skin of the hedgehog, the chameleon, the lizard, and the snail. Rabbi Yehuda says the lid is like a weasel, but any of them that was tanned or trodden, as long as tanning is except for the skin of a man. And Rabbi Yochanan Bori says that 8 shiratzim have skins. If one flays either an animal or beast, either kosher or non-kosher, either small or large, for a spread enough to grasp it in a flask until he flays the beast. If he flays from the feet, it is all considered attached as regard tumah, but contact tumah to convey tumah. The skin on the neck, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nori says it is not considered attached, but the can come and say it is considered attached until he flays it completely. If a hide of a olive's vial of flesh on it, one who touches a shred that protrudes from it, or the hair that is opposite is tummy. If there were 2 olive-sized pieces of flesh on it, it contains tumah through carrying, but not through contact. These are the words of Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Kiva says through contact with tumah through carrying, but if Kiva agrees if one thrusts a chip through 2 half-sized pieces or move them, he is tummy. Then why does Rabbi Yehuda declare them tahor when they're on the hide? Because the hide renders them negligible. Okay. Let's go this and sota. Okay, hey, base. On that, the Rebbe Kiva expounded any earthenware utensil into which of them falls, whatever is in it shall become tummy. It does not say tummy, but rather yitma, even to render the others tummy, but teaches that a loaf, which is a sheni degree of tuma, can make a shlishi degree of tuma. Yeshua says, who will remove the dust from your eyes? Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, for you used to say that future generations would pronounce tahor from a loaf that was contaminated as a shlishi, since there is no verse in the Torah that it's tummy. But now does not a Kiva disciple adduce a verse from the Torah in his tummy, as it is said, whatever is in it, it should be tummy. On that day, Rebbe Kiva was founded, and you shall measure from outside the city, the east side, 2,000 cubits. But another verse states from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits round about. It's impossible to say 1,000 cubits since it already said 2,000 cubits, and impossible to say 2,000 cubits since it already says 1,000 cubits. How do we resolve this? The 1,000 cubits are a clearing, while the 2,000 are the Sabbath boundary. Rabbi Eliezer, the son of Yosef Hagili, says the 1,000 cubits are a clearing, and the second 1,000 and the 2,000 cubits are fields and vineyards. On that day, Rebbe Kiva expounded then Moses and the children of Israel sang this song to Hashem, and they spoke, saying, there is no necessity for the verse to say, saying, what then is meant by saying? It teaches that the Israelites responded to Moses after each phrase is when they recite the Hallel, before it says, saying. Then the Koma says, and when they recite the Shema, it is not as when they recite the Hallel.
Okay.
One more to go. And we have
Shabbos.
Shabbos. Okay. Shabbos, I'm sorry, Aleph, hey. Beis Shammai says we may not soak ink, dyes, or vegetables. There's sufficient time for them to become completely soaked, while the Yadei by Beis Hillel permits this. Beis Shammai says we may not place bundles of flax into the oven unless there's sufficient time for them to become heated when it is yet day. Nor may we place wool into the vat unless there's sufficient time for it to be absorbed the color. Beis Hillel says permits these acts. Beis Shammai says we may not spread snares for beasts, birds, or fish unless there's sufficient time to be captured while it's day. Beis Hillel permits this, but Beis Shammai says we may not sell to a Gentile and help him load and lift a load upon him unless there is sufficient time for him to reach a nearby place, and Beis Hillel permits these acts. Okay, that's it, right?
Yeah. Number 7. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Okay, terrific. Have a great day. Enjoy the celebration.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.